So today's webinar is all about our new email marketing tool, Promote. We will be taking you through the entire process of creating your email, sending the email, and then tracking your email performance after your email is sent. First things first, you can see that I am logged into Weebly, and this is my Weebly user home. This is what you should usually see when you're logged in. If you look to the top left, you will see a few links in the navigation, including a link for Promote. So we want to go ahead and click that to take us to the Promote tool. Now you've transitioned from your user home to your Promote dashboard. Okay, we'll go over the dashboard again in a little bit, but the first thing you want to do here is choose which website you would like to associate with the email that you're sending. You can do that by choosing a website in this drop-down on your left-hand side. You can see once I click the drop-down, you can see a list of all of the different websites I have on my Weebly account. I'll go ahead and click one. You can see that now I don't have anything in my dashboard. It tells me I don't have any emails sent, and it prompts me to compose my email. Okay, so that's the next step. We are going to actually start composing the email. And I can either click compose here or here. Either one, it takes me to the same starting point. So one great thing about Weebly, whether you're using Weebly Promote to create email marketing or whether you are creating just a website, a blog, a store, Weebly wants to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Okay, we want to give you all the tools to succeed. With Promote, we give you this handy dandy list, which I don't know about you, but I love lists. I'm super satisfied checking things off of lists. So we give you this list that takes you step by step through everything you need to do. And right now we're on step 1, choosing your email purpose. Okay, so before you get started, ask yourself, what type of email do you want to send? You'll see we already lay out specific categories for you, whether it be a general email, something to do with your store or commerce, a newsletter, perhaps an event update, a blog summary, or even a template that you've already saved. If you click on these, you will see that different templates come up. Okay, don't be overwhelmed by these templates. They're just starting points and they can be customized in the next step, which I'll show you in just a second. Along with these templates, we give you a little bit of a teaser word, and that kind of leads you in a good direction of perhaps what you would want to use that template for. For example, in the event category, we give you a template for fundraiser, networking, store opening, a concert, or even a webinar. We're going to go ahead and start with a general email. You can see that you can start with a blank template, 1 column, 2 column, multi-section, or even photo-based or text-based. Okay, and again, these can all be customized in the next step, so don't get hung up on, choosing the template that's going to be right for you. For the purposes of today's webinar, we are going to stick with the 1 column template, so I'll go ahead and choose that, and then click continue to move on to our next step. Now we get to design the email, which, in my opinion, is the most fun part of this whole process. Okay, this is also a process of experimentation and trial and error. You might have to play around with things, much like building a Weebly site. You might have to play around with things to really get comfortable here and to get to the point where you really like your email and you're ready to send it out. Okay, let's check out our template before we start doing anything specific. You'll see that we have different elements here. One for a logo, an image, a title, some text, and a button or a call to action. A call to action is where you want your viewers, your readers, your customers to go, whether you're leading them to the site, your site, or you're leading them to email you. This is where you want to really capture the attention of your readers. Okay, all of these sections are completely customizable, and you'll notice they have a lot of the same elements as those on your Weebly site. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through each one, change them up a little bit, and then we'll talk more about the design email section of Promote. First of all, it wants us to add a logo. Don't get discouraged if you don't have a logo, it's just an image. So you could add an image here if you have one, but you don't have a logo. You could also take this out completely. You could add text instead of a logo. It's completely up to you. So let's go ahead and add my logo now. I want to click on this element. You'll see that you should see some familiar options here. I want to go ahead and replace the image. Okay, I want to upload from my computer. And you'll see that now I have my logo, but it's looking rather large. It's kind of dominating my email. So what I want to do is go ahead and resize it. And I can do that by dragging this little blue box up a little bit. And you'll see that it stays pretty much centered. Once I have that, I could edit a few more things. So I could align it differently if I wanted to. I could change the spacing, so changing the margins both on the top and the bottom to make that a little closer. And voila, now I have my logo in place. The next thing we want to do is substitute an image for the image that's already in the template. So it's going to be very similar steps to what we just took. Go ahead and click on the image, click replace the image, and add something from your computer. And there we go. You can also resize this image and change the margin options for this image as well. Our next template item is the title. So this says check out our menu, but to give you some context, the email I'm writing is for my hypothetical cupcake bakery called the Cupcakery. Very clever, right? And so this email is all about advertising a new cupcake recipe that we've created and that we want to share with our customers. So instead of check out our menu, I might say something like, what's new with the Cupcakery? Okay, it's still a title. You know, you still want to direct viewers there to make sure they know what the email is about, but you want to make it your own. Same with this text. This text is appropriate for the template, but it's not super appropriate for my email. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some text that I created and copy and paste it into this text box. Okay, you'll see that you have some formatting options here in case you wanted to center your text. You could change the size of your text, you could underline, bold, italicize, you could add numbers or bullets, you could change the colors. Whatever you want to do, you can again make this element your own. There are a lot of different options here. Once you are happy with your text, we're going to go ahead and move on to the button, or like I said earlier, the call to action. Right now it says see menu, but that doesn't really mesh with what we're communicating in this email. So you could change it completely and say visit us now if you want to direct them to the store or to your site. I'm actually going to say see recipe because we're directing people specifically to a new recipe that we have. If you click on this box, you can also change elements about the button, including the size, the margins, and the alignment. Also, just to note, you have a lot of the same element editing options that you do in your Weebly site. So you could move the element, you could copy an element by using this arrow, or you could even delete an element by using this X. Okay, make sure that you're 100% sure you want to delete your element because it could get tedious to do work again, right? You could also edit specific sections of your template or of your email. You'll see if I highlight this box or this box, the little gear icon comes up. If you click that, you'll see the a little bit different options, and these are to edit the entire section. So you can edit the height, you can reorder the section, so I could bring that logo under my image if I wanted to. I could add a new section here, I could delete the section, or I could edit the background. For the backgrounds, I could leave it as it is, so that's just white, no background. I could add a color to a background or even an image, depending on what is appropriate for your email. Let me just show you the color background real quick. So with this, we give you some popular colors, and you can also add hex codes if you want. But say that I wanted something gray. I could click on gray, click done, and there you go. Now I have a background color. If I decide that I don't like that very much, I can go back and change it. Just go through those same steps of edit background, color background, and then switch back to white. And done. Pretty cool, right? It's that simple. So, like I said before, these templates are completely customizable. So you will see on the left-hand side a lot of the same elements that you see when building your Weebly site. You can add additional titles, you can add additional text, images. All you have to do here is drag and drop. Say that you change your mind and you don't want that, you can go ahead and delete it. Maybe you want to add dividers between your elements. You can do that. You can even add a map if you want. You could add social icons. You could add a file. You can add an extra button. There are plenty of options when it comes to customizing your email. One other thing I want to show you is this design tab. So you'll see that right now we're on build, but if you switch over to design, you have a few other options. One option here is changing the color palette. Right now we have a specific one, but if I click to another color, you'll see that things change a little bit. And you can even edit this here. You can edit the backdrop, the button color, or the secondary button color. Again, you have a lot of flexibility, so you just want to play around with it until you get something that you're completely satisfied with. You can also change the fonts if you don't like the font that's already there, the default font. And finally, you can change the email border. So I feel like this one tends to get overlooked, but it's actually a simple change and it can bring a subtle change to your email. So right now we have borders within every section of our template as well as around the outside, but you can change that to only have borders on the inside. So you'll see that the template on the outside went away. See, there's the difference. You could have just the outside and not have the borders on the inside, or you could have no borders at all. You can also change the height and the color of your border if you so choose. Okay, so one good thing to note now is the ability to save your email as a draft. You'll see on the top left corner, it says auto-saved at a certain time. If you click this X, it gives you the ability to actually name your draft. So maybe I would say cupcake cookie recipe, and then save and close. So you'll see now that I have one draft, and it's what I just named it, cupcake cookies recipe. I can go ahead and click that again. And it brings me exactly to where I just was in the process. Okay, so you might want to use that if you start an email but you don't have time. If perhaps you are lacking some of the resources you need, like you're still looking for images or you haven't decided on text. There are plenty of reasons why you might want to use that draft, save as a draft option. But it's completely up to you. Okay? Now that we're feeling pretty good about our email, we can go ahead and move to the next step. I'll go ahead and click continue. And this is where we really start to add the email information. The first step here is your subject line. Just a few tips about creating a subject line. You want it to be short and snappy. So you want it to grab the attention of your readers. You want to make it personal by perhaps using the word you Or in this example, we use the word your. You don't want to use the same subject line, for every email. So if you're sending out weekly emails, you want to make sure that they have a somewhat different subject line because you don't want that to be static or get stale. You also want to avoid what I would call spammy words. So % off, help, buy, anything with a $ in it. You want to avoid things that people are going to think is spam. And finally, you want to instill a sense of urgency in your subject line. So use words like today, now, open by midnight, things of that nature. Okay, why don't we go ahead and try creating a subject line for my email. So like I said, this is about a new recipe. So maybe I could say something like, get your new cupcake, if I could spell, cupcake recipe today. So you can see I've utilized a few of the tips. I used your to make it personal. I created that sense of urgency by saying today. And I also gave them a sense of what's in the email. Okay, you want to be specific here. Next, we have the sender information. You can see I've already created a profile, so I'll just go ahead and show you what I did for that by clicking edit. You want to enter your sender email. So this is the email that you will get replies to. So if you don't want to put your personal email here, you don't have to, but make sure that you create a real email, a viable email that you can put here. Sender name, this could be the name of your company. It could be your first and last name if they can actually associate you with the business or with your email. I put Erin from the Cupcakery because hopefully my customers would know me. You can put your physical address if you have one. And then you also have options to send more or to include more information, including your phone number, your website, commercial registration number, your VAT ID or tax ID number, and then finally a little comment box for additional information. So I entered, come on in for a delicious treat. At the bottom here, you'll see the example info. This is what your profile, your sender profile will look like in the footer. So it says the email was sent to you by Erin from the Cupcakery. It lists my physical address and then also gives you that additional information comment that I added here. It also gives people the option to either subscribe, will manage their subscription, or unsubscribe from emails. And I'll go ahead and save that. We're happy with that. Okay, and now that we are finished with the email information, we'll move on to the next step of adding recipients. When it comes to adding recipients, you have a few options. One, you could start typing them. So I'll type one. You can also copy and paste. Let me grab my emails from another doc. Okay, so I'm copying and pasting. You can see they showed up as completely separate emails. Or the final option is to import your recipients. So if you click import, you can actually see a sample CSV. So you can make sure that your CSV is set up in the appropriate way to have a seamless import of your recipients. So again, these are the people that you want to send your email to. They may be your customers, your friends or family. Whoever you want to get your email will go here. Once you've entered your recipients, we can move on to the last step. Pretty exciting, right? We're almost done. So this is where you can review and send your email. The first thing you want to do is make sure that all of the information is correct. Is the from email correct? Is the subject line correct and free of both spelling and grammatical errors? Do you have the correct group of recipients? Okay, you can change all of those here with these options. Finally, you will want to look at your email once again with a fine-tooth comb. Okay, again, look for spelling mistakes, look for grammatical errors, check your links, so make sure that this button goes to the correct place. Enter your social media information if you want to direct people to your Facebook or Twitter. Make sure your footer information is correct. Again, you want to go through this with a fine-tooth comb. You can also, if you check here on the left-hand side, you can also see your email in a variety of formats. So the default format is what it would look like on a computer if somebody were to open your email. You can also check what it would look like on a mobile device to make sure everything still looks okay. And finally, you can look at it in plain text. Okay. From this page, we have a few other options that I want to quickly tell you about. Once you are ready to send your email, you can send yourself a quick test from clicking this button, Send Test. So you would want to send yourself a test to, again, make sure that everything looks okay outside of the Promote tool, but actually in your email. Again, make sure that there's no spelling, there's no grammar mistakes, that all the links go to the correct places, you've used the correct images. You can also send a test email to someone else in case you want an extra eyes on things or you want someone to edit your work. All you would need to do here is enter the email and click send. Okay. And you've sent yourself a test email. The second option I want to tell you about is scheduling your email. So say that you wanted to send your email at a time when someone in London would get it right when they wake up. But maybe you don't want to stay up all night to send it at that appropriate time. You can actually schedule your email to be sent on a specific day and a specific time where you don't even have to be logged in to promote. It just sends automatically. Okay, you do need to be upgraded to one of our different packages to use this feature. But if scheduling your email is something you'd be interested in doing, go ahead and check that out. Finally, once you've reviewed your test, you've reviewed your email, it's time to send. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and send our email now by clicking send now. And you'll see a little verification pop up here, and it says you're about to send this email. By clicking send, you agree to our terms of service. It also tells you how many recipients will receive your email, so you can kind of double check that. If I'm good with the confirmation, I can go ahead and click send, and voila! Good job, your email has been sent. And I click done, and suddenly I am back at my dashboard. That wasn't so hard, right? We went from email creation to actually sending it, all in just a few easy steps. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to track your email. So if I click on this email again, I will now see a different dashboard. So it brings up the actual email and who I sent it to, which is both helpful information, but up here you can track your email's performance. I can track the delivery rate, so that's who actually received the email, the open rate, so who has actually opened my email, and then finally the click rate, so who clicked on the links within my email, so who used that call to action that we place in the email. From here, you also have a few other actions, including changing the name of the email and exporting all of this data to a CSV. So perhaps you wanted to keep your email performance data somewhere else. You could do that by exporting it here. Okay. Just to take you through a few other options, you can also duplicate this email, say that you want to use the same email template, but you don't necessarily want to go through all the steps, you just want to change a few things. You can do that here by by duplicating the email. You can also change the name of the email here or delete the email. I'll take you through these other options quickly. Here you can see your drafts. We don't have any drafts because we just sent our email, which is fine. You could see scheduled emails if you have emails scheduled. You can see all of the contacts that you've uploaded. And you can even add contacts here or search for contacts here. And you can have groups. So the groups allows you to basically create lists of contacts. So maybe you're sending out different emails that you want to send to different groups of people. This allows you to organize your contacts in a way that provides for a really seamless experience later when you're getting ready to send that email. Okay, so that's about it. We've gone through the creation of the email. We've gone through the design process, creating a subject line, We've gone through reviewing and actually sending your email. We previewed the dashboard and how to track your email performance. And that's about it. I'm going to take just a quick break to get some water. Go ahead and think about your questions, and I'll be right back to answer them. All right, thank you. Okay, so let's start going through some of the questions here. One question is, can a link to the email be made available online? The answer is yes, but in sort of a roundabout way. If you send yourself a test email, you should, in the actual email, you should see a link to view the email in your browser. That would be the link that you would use either on your website or wherever you're trying to link your email online. So the answer is yes, but like I said, in a bit of a roundabout way. So, is there always an unsubscribe option automatically within the template? The answer is yes. It's always good to give people that unsubscribe option. One question is, can you use promote emails as an autoresponder? You know, that's a really good question and not a use case I've thought about yet. I would assume no. But if I'm happy to do a little bit more digging on that, if you want to shoot me an email, if anybody has questions after this this webinar, shoot me an email at community@weebly.com, and I'm happy to go into a little bit more detail or, you know, do some digging, like I said, to make sure that I answer your questions. Okay, so how do you import contacts from Google Mail? You would want to export those contacts into a CSV and then import them from that CSV into Promote. So export from Google Mail, import into Promote. It sounds maybe a little bit daunting, but it shouldn't be any big deal. Let's see what other questions we have. Okay, how do you delete contacts? I imported my Weebly contacts and ended up with a lot of spammy emails that I want to delete, and I had trouble with this. Let's go through that now. So if you're on the contacts page and you click on these ellipses here, you should be able to specifically delete that contact. Okay, and it reminds you that the action is permanent, and once that contact is deleted, you won't be able to get it back. Okay, so just make sure that you know that. But that's how you would do it. You would do it from the contacts section of your dashboard. Okay, somebody asks, I pay for the pro site. Do I get all the features with email? The answer there is no. The tool is separate, so the plans are also separate. However, our base model for Promote does give you many options. I would take a look at Promote packages and compare them and see which is the most appropriate for you. Okay, let's see. Can you see the names of recipients on your list as well as their email addresses? No, I don't believe so, but that's a good question. If you import email addresses, you might be able to. But if you're just entering them, it just is showing the email address. Let's see. One webinar participant wants to know, the Weebly system is good, but it doesn't send an email confirmation to the registrant because they want to use Promote for promoting an event and they need registration. That's a great feature and really good feedback, actually. We don't have a specific time frame for when that will be added, but I'm more than happy to communicate that desire to our internal teams and make sure that that's something that they're aware of. Thank you. Okay, somebody asked, how does Promote import an existing emailing list? And again, that's just through CSV. If you check, you can actually make sure that your CSV is the same function or the same format as the one that we've used, so you can import a file and then download the example CSV to make sure that the CSV you're using is the same format that we need. Could Promote completely replace the use of MailChimp and including housing emails? The answer there is yes. You should find that Promote and MailChimp are very similar, except if you already have a Weebly site, Promote, should be a bit easier because it allows you to directly include either contacts you've already gathered from your site or just associate the email with your site in general. Okay, say I send out 10 emails. Can I easily copy and archive them in a page in my website for others to view later on? So this kind of gets at what we were speaking at earlier. You could with actual links, but you would need to send yourself either a test email or access that email somehow to get that link to the actual email. Can the email come from a non-Weebly domain? Do we have to enter email server info to use different from emails? No, so you can actually use whatever email you want in the sender information. I am just using my Weebly email address, but you are more than welcome to use, Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever is appropriate for you. So does the unsubscribe link send an email to the sender? Yes, it does. You should get confirmation that people have unsubscribed. Does it track click-throughs? Yes, as I showed you. Let me go back there. If you click on the actual email once you've sent it, you can see that it tracks the delivery rate, the open rate, and the click rate. So yes, we do track click-through. Are the email addresses hidden on the emails sent? And what is in the to address? So the to address is just their specific email. So no, they would not see the other people that received the email. They would just see their own. Is there a best time or date to send newsletters? That's a great question, actually. And it's actually not one I could answer comprehensively because it really just depends on, say, the time zone and perhaps the day of the week, the kind of people you are targeting. So with that, I would actually do some testing on your own. Maybe the first newsletter you send, it would be on a Monday morning. Maybe the second one would be on a Monday afternoon, and just kind of test to see when your audience best responds to your emails. Someone would like to know, how to add a map. Let me go back to that really quick. So again, I'm composing the email. I'm just going to kind of skip through these. I'm choosing my template. If I continue. So with the map, much like all the other elements, it's just dragging and dropping. So on the left-hand side, you have the choices of different elements that you can choose. So you just select that, drag it, and drop it. So from there, you can actually shift it around. It just follows that blue line. So say that I want it next to the text. I could bring it next to the text. Looks like I'm having a little connectivity issue. That's okay. And then if I decided I didn't want the map, I could go ahead and delete it. Okay. Can Promote be used with the free Weebly site? Yes, it sure can. Everything I showed you today was from a free Weebly site. Okay, so going through syncing Weebly contacts from a Weebly site. So this is actually, hold on just 1 second. Let me get things ready for you guys. Okay, so if I go back out, and I'm actually not going to save this draft, I'm going to discard it. If I go back to contacts and I want to add a contact, I kind of skipped over this option earlier, but you have the option here to sync Weebly contacts. So I actually don't have any available forms or any contacts from my Weebly sites, but if you did, you could click this Sync Weebly Contacts button. You would agree to the terms of service and enable Weebly Sync. And then it would just import all of the contacts from any forms, your store, if you have a membership function. Whoops, my screen wasn't showing. Hey, that would be useful. Okay, let me show you again real quick. So I'm on the contacts section of my Promote home. If I want to go to add a contact, well, I had already synced it. I sank it. But you would see a button here that would say Sync Weebly Contacts. Once you click that, you just have to enable that Weebly Sync, and then it basically does all of the work for you. It takes all of your contacts from any forms you have, from the store, if you have the membership feature, any contacts you would have from any of your sites, it basically pulls those in and just adds them here. Like I said, I don't have any contacts from my sites yet, so I still only have 11 people in my actual contacts. But that's how you do it. It's not too hard. Somebody is asking, I work from a home office and I would rather not have my home address appear on my emails. That's totally fine. You don't have to have a physical address at all. You can completely leave that out. So that's usually for people with actual brick and mortar stores that want to advertise that way. But if you don't want to put a physical address, you most certainly do not have to. Okay, someone wants to know, is there a way of collecting emails from the website without using another vendor and have them automatically go into the contact list? So that's exactly what I just showed. You don't have to use a third party. You can just let Promote sync your Weebly contacts directly. Can you group emails into folders like weekly emails, nursery school, events? That's also a good question. At this point, no. They're just going to be separate, but that's a really good feature, a suggestion that, again, I will more than certainly pass on to our internal team. Someone asks, not completely clear on the form portion or on the from portion of the email. Can we configure multiple from addresses? Do we need to provide certain information for each from address? No, so the from address is just the email that you want people to see when they receive the email. Okay, so if you want them to see your personal email like I did, then you include that. If you want people to see a business email, so like sales@cupcakery.com, you could use that. It's whatever email you want people to see whenever they open that email as the sender. And again, that's also the email where you would receive replies to. So if someone were to reply to your email, it would go to that email address. So you want to make sure that it's one that you actually check. Someone wants to know if this webinar will be on the Weebly site at some point. It most certainly will. We will also have this webinar again in a few weeks. If you'd like to sign up to see this webinar again, you're most welcome to do that as well. can I add receive newsletter options on my site to collect email addresses? You most certainly can. So what I would suggest for that is using a button to do that, and you would just say, instead of like see recipe, which is what we used in this time, I would say receive newsletters, and then you would enter your email or an email where you would want to collect those, and then collect your email and basically create a listserv from that. But you're more than welcome to do that. Can you have your recipients send their email to a third address? Yes, and that's basically exactly what I just explained. So, well, I imagine you're asking if when they reply, they would send it to a third email. So, I don't know the answer to that. Again, if you want to email me at community@weebly.com, I can look into that a little bit more. I feel like the answer is no, but I don't want to go ahead and just make that final. I would rather look into it for you. So shoot me an email and we can talk more about that. Okay, so we only have a few more minutes. I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I can, but as I mentioned earlier, if we don't get to your question or if you have additional questions, please shoot me an email at community@weebly.com, and I will make sure to personally get to all of your questions. So somebody wants to know about creating and merging groups. So let's go through groups a little bit more in depth. So one group that was already created for me was the contact form group. So this is from a website that I have. Like I said before, no one's actually filled out this form because the site isn't published, but it went ahead and created that group for me. I can create another group. So maybe I would want to create it from existing contacts, and I would say something like recipe lovers. And then I would go ahead and add my contacts here. Oops. Again, it looks like I'm having a bit of connectivity issues, which is totally fine. Let's try this one. Okay, there we go. And we can save. And you can see that I have already created that group. So once I have these groups together, you can see I have a few options. I can change the name. If I select here, I can also delete them. Unfortunately, at this point, you cannot merge groups, but you can make as many as you want, and some of them might overlap. Okay, and luckily creating the groups is easy enough that it shouldn't be too tedious in case you feel like you need to add two groups together. And then you can also add multiple groups to one email. So say that I had recipe lovers and form lovers, and people from my contact form. If I wanted to send an email that I thought would be appropriate for both groups, I could actually include both of those groups in the recipients of one email. So it's kind of like I'm merging them, except I'm not. Can you use the promote email function without having an actual Weebly site? No. At this point, no, you cannot. But that's okay. I mean, you could just create a free site that you don't necessarily have to update. But you would need to basically select that site first before you start composing your emails. Okay, let's see what else we have here. If I use any sender email, how will it send from that email address? Don't I have to provide the login for that email account? No, you would not. You don't have to log into that account. That's just the email that you're listing as the sender. So again, it doesn't log into that account to send it from that actual account because you're sending it from Promote. That is just the label that you're putting on it. That's the sender information that you're entering. So again, you don't have to actually log in to that account, and it's not sending it from that account specifically. It just looks like it is. That's how email marketing tools work. Okay, if groups overlap and they're in both groups, will they receive 2 emails in the blast? That's a really good question, actually. I would hope that duplicates are caught, but that's actually something I need to find out about. See, that's the fun of having a new tool, is that we're kind of learning it together. And it's all about trial and error and learning the limitations of the tool, really. So I will certainly find that out for you, but I would assume that the duplications are indeed caught.
Unsubscribe.
Okay, someone is saying, did you say we must enter our email on the newsletter button? You can basically capture them however you'd like. So let me go through that real quick. So again, just going through this template. Okay. And from here, I could say sign up for newsletter. And then if I edit the actual button, if I link it, I can either send them to a site with like a form to sign up, or I can give them an email address where they would email to sign up for the actual newsletter. It's completely up to you. So we're kind of doing it in a roundabout way. There's no like best practices here because there's no form that you can add specifically to this email, but you can most certainly get around that by using the button. And then what you link to with the button is completely up to you. Again, you can either send them straight to you and your email address, or you can send them to a website and have them sign up there, whichever you think is going to be easiest. Can you add a company field to the contacts? You most certainly can. So, with email information, here in the sender profile, that's why I have Aaron from the Cupcakery. You might not even want to have your name, so it might just be your business here. Okay. So just while we're here, and I know that some people had questions about the sender email, let's just take a look at the little information box. So you're required to enter an email address so that recipients can recognize you. Recipients will see this email address in the from field of your email. So again, you don't have to sign into this account. This is just the account that you're like labeling as the sender. And again, you don't have to add a physical address if you don't have one. All of these, except for the sender email, are optional. Okay. And then if there's something here that you don't see that you want to add, you can always add it in the additional information box. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually misunderstood that question, and the company name question was actually for the contact list. This person markets to businesses and would like to have their company name as part of the contact info stored. So 1 second, let me make sure that you can do that. Hold on just a sec. Okay, so right now, because I can't do this myself, I'm showing you the help article on help.weebly.com about how to upload a mailing list. So this takes you through the different steps, but I specifically want to show you how to choose, or basically what the import from a CSV looks like. So you can assign the columns in your file to the different contact details. So if you'd like to include either a name, which someone had mentioned earlier, or a business name, you can do that as long as you have that contact field in your original CSV. Okay, so because I had just copy and pasted emails in my example, they weren't coming up with names or anything because I didn't assign them those labels. But if you do want to, like I said, you would just choose the CSV file that you want to upload and then make sure that those labels match. Okay, and if you have any trouble with the CSV upload, just let us know. We're happy to help.
Can we import fonts?
One question was about importing fonts. For promote, the answer is no. You can for your Weebly site, but like I said, not for promote, unfortunately. Sorry about that, guys. I know there are a few questions about unsubscribing. 1 second, and let me just make sure that I have all of the information about that as well. Hold on just a sec. Okay, so when someone unsubscribes, you will be able to see that in your email details. So just to show you, I'm on my promote dashboard. I click on the email that I want to check. And if I check here, I can see the email details, including the contacts. If I select all, I can sort these contacts by the different actions that people took, including unsubscribed. So I can make sure, as you can see, one person is already unsubscribed from my email, so I can see not only when, but who unsubscribed. Okay, and this might be something that you want to keep your eye on. Someone wants to know, can I copy the header image from our homepage so it looks the same on the email header? The header goes from left to right without any borders. Yes, you should be able to format them very similarly. If you have any issues, like I said, just let us know. We're happy to help with that. Okay, I have time for one more question. If anybody has one more question, I'm happy to answer that. And like I said, if you think of anything else, you can reach me at community@weebly.com. I'm happy to chat with you about promote or anything else as much as you want. Okay then, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you learned a lot. I had a great time talking to you and going through different challenges with you, throughout the past hour. Again, I'll just give you my email and let you know that I'm a resource for you. It's community@weebly.com. We're happy to help whatever you need. As I mentioned earlier, we want you to succeed. So let us know how we can help. Thank you again for being here. I hope everyone has a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.